sketchyGOichie.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of sketchyGOichie. I'm your host, Roger Andrews, and I'm about to I'm going to take on a challenge. This was another of those sort of BJ DeLong, let's draw with BJD. Let me spell it correctly. The BJ Dell. I'm sorry, BJ Dell. I messed it up again. BJ Dell. It's BEEJAYDE Let's Draw With on YouTube. He does these weekly challenges where he asks his viewers to kind of, post some of their images, one of their images based off of a theme. And this week's theme is culinary. So let's see what comes up. I chose also to now that I got a nice setup here, got my iPhone on a nice little tripod, aiming down properly. Hopefully the sound quality is good. And I wanted to show you this in this fashion because I wanted you to be able to see the exact process. I will show my brushes, I will show my screen sizes. I will basically give you all the inside info. And by the way, if you hear some random noise in the background, that's my daughter. She's watching cartoons in the other room. So don't mind that. Real world stuff happening. All right. Anyways, here we go. So Procreate. Let's go out deeper. Here's my main screen. I call it the load screen. If this was the Matrix, this would be the kind of the load screen. It's got several folders or stacks. I've got my toy stuff in one. I've got, just some random untitled art. I've got that portrait series that I've been working from. And of course, I've got my YouTube vids. You can see some of the previous ones that I've posted in the past. They're all represented here, including the recent challenge, the little unicorn one I did very recently. I think it was like last week. And that was also for the Let's Draw with BJ Dell YouTube channel. Go check it out. Definitely subscribe. I do. So I'm going to do my next challenge. I am going to go over here to the plus. This is where all your new canvases can be selected from. As you can see, they have there's a list of the standard ones that come with the app. I included a few new ones, a few custom ones. I figured a letter-sized one in portrait and landscape mode, tabloid, which is 11 by 17, in both tabloid sort of portrait mode, and wide is the landscape mode, 16 by 9, comp art, and just a random 300 DPI one that I did. For this one, I think I'm gonna go I'll go portrait, and 8.5 by 11 essentially is my letter size portrait. We'll select that. So it's gonna load with a white background. I could work on white, often do, but I prefer to have like a little tone. So you just kind of drag in. Do you see that movement? If not, you kind of double click to get it back to white. You can change. You simply select the circle in the corner. Here's your color palette. This sort of circular picker can be changed as well. There's a couple of different options here at the very bottom for different ways of doing it, but I like the little disc. All right. I selected kind of a little medium gray or a light medium gray, and then you literally just drag this guy over and just drop him in there, and that'll fill it with gray. Hopefully that comes out well on screen. And so that's on layer 1. So obviously I don't want to sketch my art on that layer because I want it to be able to be changeable. By the way, you can change your background color as well. Same process. You literally just click on background and it'll give you, whatever color you want to select. And once you select it, it will automatically fill that background with that color. But I personally like to do it on a separate layer. That way, if I want to change it, it's a little easier for me. Here's my new layer. I like to also render in red. So I've got a little red that I use for my little sort of scratchy, etchy preliminary sketch stuff, my under drawings. And of course, here are my pens. This is my main inking pen, the technical pen. Again, this is the one that came with it. Zero disrespect to anyone who goes and downloads a great pen. There are tons of creators out there who've developed like the perfect inking pen. This one is just the one that came with the app, and I've just kind of played around with the settings. I'll show you that later. And then when I'm sketching, I like the ink bleed pen, which I believe came with the basic set. I'm not sure if I downloaded that or not. I know Studio Pen did for sure. This ink bleed pen has got sort of a texture to it, which I like. And this one is actually unaltered because I use it for the underdrawings and the sketches. The performance of it, it's got a smooth and sort of almost a wet quality to it. It allows me to kind of move the pen around really quickly for the sketches. All right. And last thing I want to note is over here we have our this is our size of brush, and this is opacity of that the stroke on there, as you can see. So that's the size. It's fairly small. Actually, it's in the middle. And then the opacity I bring down a little bit because I just want it to kind of, it doesn't really matter. I can do it full out, but I like it to be sort of the line to be slightly diminished. All right, so here we go. Culinary. What are we gonna do for culinary? Maybe I'll do a character. How about that? So, starting off, maybe I'll go front view with this character. You know what I'll do? I'll do a cool little like. I'll turn it on its head. Maybe I'll do like a chicken character. Yeah, he's gonna be the culinary. He's gonna turn this whole culinary game on its head, where food is gonna take over. All right. So as you can see, just keeping it simple. Quick sketch, just to kind of get the basic shape down. Not much more to it than that. Oh, by the way, this is your little directional arrow, your direct selection. You can select what you just rendered. You can pull on the corners to change the proportion of it. You can hold down it and really distort, as you can see. And then you find your happy place with that. You can rotate as well by putting two fingers down on the surface. And that's that, right? Pretty simple. And when you're done, either click off of it on the side somewhere, or just click the arrow again. Alright, so there's our guy right there. You know, we'll give him a little chef's hat too. Okay. And you know what? Let's treat him almost like an icon. Make it into almost like a coat of arms type thing. Okay, so I'll reposition him here using that little selection tool. And then I will, we'll do some crossed chef knives. You see some circles on those things, right? Here's the beauty of this app. Again, this is probably why I render digitally. Alright, so I've got that guy. I could have created a new layer, or I could just simply use this tool here, this sort of like another selection tool, and just drag it around, right? That's a three-finger swipe down, and gives you this little option here. You can cut and paste, and copy and paste. So in this case, I'm going to cut and paste. And here's what it does. It puts that on its own layer, that little knife, that little chef's knife that I created on its own layer. So that will allow me to, on its own layer, to move it, reposition it. If I choose to, extend it. You see? You can see what's going on here. Alright, so we'll put that right about there. Feels about right. And again, it's on its own layer, so I can just simply select there, will give you all your options. And if I slide to the left I can duplicate the layer. So now that's an exact copy of it. All right. Back over to our trusty little move tool. And at the very bottom here, you see a flip horizontal, which is an option. You see that? How cool is that? Oh, you know what? I just noticed they were both selected. Oops. So, no big deal. I'll just go back in, select one of them, because they're just identical. They're right on top of each other. That's all that is. So now that they're on two separate layers, like again, grab that guy, flip horizontal. There we have them. All right. I'll move this one over a bit, because again, I want to form that sort of I'm gonna like a coat of arms or a crest of some sort with our culinary chicken. I figure right about there. Okay, and here's another cool feature. I can join them, which is what I inadvertently did before. All right, just join those two layers, and now they will move in unison together, as you can see, like so. All right. Let's see, what else can I bring into this? Maybe on a new layer. All right, a new layer. Could be underneath, could be on top. It doesn't really matter. Maybe I can bring some sort of like, let's see, maybe some kind of filigree of some sort. Maybe some herbs or something. Nah, I don't like that. You know what I could do rather than that, because I feel like there's a spatial thing happening there. Maybe I'll take the chicken and I'll kind of alter him to make him work a little better in what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to alter him a little bit. Alright. So now his wings are way large, which of course we can definitely monkey around with. As a matter of fact, you know, it might be kind of cool if he's wider. Yeah, that's starting to feel better. He's starting to take up the space a little better. At least I think he is. All right. Then again, using that sort of selection tool, grab that wing. All right. Oops. If I close it, there's the starting point that grabs it, and I can grab the other wing, close it. All right, and just reduce them. So now the wing's a little better. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll just cut and paste them. So now they're really on their own layer. I can manipulate them a little easier. Particularly this guy over here. Whoops. This guy over here. Him right there. All right. So that's about that. That's really all I need for now. I'm gonna merge them, because why not? So you literally just grab them, kind of pinch them all together. All those drawing layers will pinch together. They should be pinching. Come on, you. Doesn't like me right now. There we go. Let's try this again. There we go. Now we're all pinched together. So, goodbye. All right, new layer on top. Draw down the opacity. I like to do it right here within the layer. Click right in the layer, right on that little N. That will give you all your different modes, your multiplies and such. But what it also does is gives you the opacity. You can just dial down the opacity. Look at that guy just kind of disappear. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit for you guys. How's that? Like someone can answer me. maybe someone at home is answering me right now. All right, so I have the red selection. I'm gonna go. I'll go black. You know what? Actually, I'll go a deep gray. No, even better. I'll go blue, but a deep dark blue. I'll tell you why later. Actually, not. I'll tell you why now. If you go black, you're pretty much locked into black. I mean, you can certainly select the line art and change the line art to different colors. I like using up here in our next tool, this sort of magic wand tool. I like using hue and saturation to change the line color. So I'll just duplicate that that layer, and I'll change the line color. And because it's got blue in it, it gives me the ability to play around with the hue, the saturation, and the brightness of that line. So it gives you a lot of options. But there are many ways to skin a cat in Procreate. Sometimes if time isn't of essence, I'll just render it in black and call it a day. Or if I intend for it to be black line art, I'll just go back in and color the line later. So it doesn't really matter. Anyway, so just bear that in mind. That's another option for when you're doing your line art. So I'll select that blue, make sure I'm on the line art layer. Sometimes I'll even go so far as to label it line art. And all you have to do is literally just click on this guy, right? Click on it, and that's what will allow you to rename it. So I can rename that, we'll call it rough. Okay? That's all there's to it. So we're on the line art layer. We can start our inking process. This is where I'm going to get into the technical pen. Again, technical pen, it's a default pen within Procreate. I have monkeyed around with it a bit. So guys, just take a note of these settings. I usually use around a 48%, somewhere around there, 48-50% on the size. Note the angles and the sizes. That's all within the pencil setting. Stroke, I've used a very low streamline. If you want the higher the streamline, the more the app kind of controls the curves, and it kind of smooths out the curves. So I keep mine pretty low because I want to have control over it. This is the touch taper settings. That's all about the way it pretty close to default. I mean, I got my size all the way to max on that. Shape is pretty basic. I use the classic for my shape filtering. Not much on grain. Here's your dynamics. I use a normal. Here's your speed on your size and opacity dynamics. And generally, it's not a lot I monkey around with the technical pen on the general. I mean, my size limit is right there as well, and the smudge level is high. So source, I don't even think there's really anything relevant there because again, it's a default brush. All right, so that's that. Technical pen. Select your size. Notice the opacity is all the way at maxed out, and I'm mid level, so it's going to give me a pretty decent thickness of the stroke. So away we go. All right. So if you're wondering how to get really nice smooth lines without needing to use the streamline effect, it's just a matter of how you position the canvas. That's really the kind of the trick. It's the secret. If you look at really good comic book inkers, they're constantly moving the page around, upside down, any which way to get a comfortable line. All right. So for me, for some people, they pull lines away from them. I like to pull them down, but it just depends on the angle and what the particular curve is at that time. All right. So thick to thin. If I don't like it, just double tap it. See, if I don't like it, I actually want it a touch thicker. See, if you don't like it, or you can actually use the kind of built-in streamline that happens. All right, you just kind of hold it down, and what it'll do is it will kind of smooth out that line automatically. That's why I don't use streamline. And then I just click over to the eraser tool, which by the eraser tool is set on Studio Pen. I usually put that pretty high or mid to up because sometimes I have to erase large areas, and just give it one of those. And look how sharp that edge is now. Same thing with this guy, just kind of brush out that edge. And look how sharp that edge. I mean, that's a really sharp line. Okay, so that's that guy, and I just keep going around. I'm not super precious on my line. I actually I like sometimes the happy sort of lines that happen by accident. So that's why I can bang out these things pretty quick because these I'm just doing for fun. It's not client work. So if endpoint's not perfect, I don't necessarily mind. But anyway, so that was pretty quick. I mean, it's what, I don't know, 6 or 7 strokes, maybe less. And it's done for me. I mean, I could really want to get in there. I can finally make sure that's perfect. Make sure that's perfect. You know, wherever a line crosses over, like right in here, okay, just kind of make sure that little crossover point is taken away. You can really kind of fix the bump on this. But I hate to say it, guys, and kind of probably speaking out of turn or out of school. I oftentimes, when I'm doing these pieces that I post on YouTube, I'm doing it again for pure fun. I may go in and kind of, you know, kind of touch up these little odd points, but oftentimes I don't. I hate to admit it. All right, so we'll move on to the wing. Okay. I give it a little bumpiness to it, just for some flavor. Okay, so I'm gonna leave the wing like that. Guess what? Because I'm gonna duplicate it. So, as a matter of fact, probably a better move would be, oh, I just noticed there's a little random little spot up there. Okay, so the move would be for me to just kind of, well, first let me finish the drawing of the wing before I get into that. Let's get that guy. Yeah, we'll leave it like that. I'll add more if I need to later. As a matter of fact, I don't even like these little doodads. Alright, I'll just thicken that up a touch. Okay, alright, so there's the front wing. Alright, I'm going to select him. I'm going to 3-finger grab, cut, paste. Alright, so now he's on his own layer, right? Just come up to here. I could, matter of fact, if I wanted to, I could name it wing. Don't need to, I'm going to merge it later, but why not? Good habit. Alright, I'm going to duplicate the wing by swiping to the left. So now we have 2 wings. He, this time, is on his own layer. I'm sorry, I should say his layer selected. Just go over here, flip horizontal, and I'm going to drag him over there. Now, if you're wondering, which some of you veterans might be wondering, why didn't I just do this whole left side and then duplicate it and flip it over? I've done it in the past on other videos. Why? Because I think I want to make the 2 wings a little different. I'm sorry, the 2 legs a little different. So when I render them, I want there to be subtle differences in the, particularly in the bone and stuff. All right. So moving on, back to the line art. Note, here's another beauty of having the wing on its own layer. Now when I continue the line art, I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to go behind the wing. See? Alright, we're going to go in here. Oops. That's a funky little thing. This is where it pays to kind of flip the canvas. It's a little thick. Sometimes it's best to pull lines away from you. At least the way I have that brush set. Just the way the taper goes. You notice like you get this really razor sharp edge at the end of the stroke. It's probably just the way I have the brush set. Okay. And there's your bone. All right. And as I said, my goal is to oops. Notice that it's a constant process of sort of, you know, drawing a stroke, erasing a stroke, drawing a stroke, getting back to it. It's the best way to do it. I think it's the way to kind of take advantage of the app, take advantage of the fact that you're working digitally, and you know you do this with ink stroke. It's you're one and done, and you're grabbing the white out down the road. All right, so notice again, the wing is on its own layer. So now how easy is it for me to just go in the line art layer and just go with the eraser tool and just take that away. See? Very easy. I think. Again, I don't mind that the other side is going to be a little different. It's okay if it's a little irregular in this case. So I'm going to go like that. I'm going to get this bone a little rounder. I should say that little leg bone. And thicken this up right there. And connect it nicely right there. Straight to the bone. Okay. And for some reason I wanted this bone to be a little irregular shaped. I don't know why I insisted upon it, but you know, you could, again, duplicate it, move it on over, call it, it's a wrap. But I liked it like that. And then eraser tool, get rid of this little area by the wing. And this is probably why it really didn't matter. It really didn't matter that I had the wings on their own layer, but in reality, it does just a touch. Whoops, didn't want to use the eraser there. Okay. All right. So there's your starting point. Now, same rules apply with our trusty chef knives. We're gonna plus that. We're gonna give them their own layer. We can name it if you want. Knives. Probably should just call it knife because I'm definitely duplicating it this time. All right, we're gonna draw one knife. Again, another beautiful thing about this app is the fact that you can draw a straight line, and if you just hold down, don't release, just hold down, and it'll turn that line into a perfectly straight line. And you can do a beautiful curve too. Notice how at the end here I overextended it, because you can very easily with your eraser tool just go like that and go like this, and now you have this razor sharp point, which is great. And then you have this one here. You notice I just held it down for just that split second longer, which by the way you can control in your settings. So always bear that in mind. You can control all of this. Okay. Again, it's okay if that overlaps. As a matter of fact, I can deliberately make it overlap. Just going with the eraser tool. Just take off the edges there. Sharpen them up as nice as you want. Same thing here. If you got some irregular bumpy shapes, when you zoom in, feel free to go in and chop them up. Give this a little edge. I'm going to reduce the size of the line a bit. Give it a nice little edge. Okay, and then I'm not sure on a real knife if it's how many of these little rivets are in it. I'm going to do 3. So there's one circle. So there's another beautiful aspect of, so just hold it down, and you're gonna have the ability to edit the shape. So you can make an ellipse, and you can adjust the shape if you wanted to. I think it was pretty cool as is. I got lucky in that first go around. Then click ellipse to release yourself from it, or click off of it. Actually, I guess it's not so perfect. Let me zoom in on that guy. So let me just adjust this just a touch with the pen tool. Circles, I actually, or ellipses, I like a little sort of irregularity in the stroke. I think it gives it a lot more character. All right, so I will select this guy, just the circle or ellipse. I will 3-finger swipe down, copy, paste, move it over, 1 finger, about there, say. Okay, then paste again, just paste. Let's see what happens. It's on its own layer. Yeah, so I can just swipe over here and duplicate and drag him over to make the 3rd one. All right, and then I will merge them all together on knives. I'll go back to my pen tool and kind of finish this line off. Just like that. Alright, and then I'll give this the knife some of that cutlery flavor. thin line. Yeah, I didn't like that one. Let's see that. You know what? I'm gonna come from this direction. How about that? Almost got it. Got it. Just erase off this little part right there. And maybe just close it off there. Close it off there. And let's see where we wound up at the end of this tip. Oh, I almost got it in the corner. It's delicate. It's often delicate trying to merge them together. The reason I want to close that in there, I want to be able to kind of eyedropper some color in there. So I figure if I close off those shapes, they'll be much easier to eyedropper. Well, not eyedropper, whatever you want to call it in Procreate. When you take, essentially, when you fill sections in with color. Okay. So, there's our knife. I think maybe I'll give it a little line over here. And then I'll erase this one. So now I've basically created an area where I'm going to have to deal with that down the road. Which is alright by me. Okay. Let's zoom way down. Shall we? I said. There we go. Okay. Quickly, I'm going to duplicate this, and then we're going to take a quick break. So duplicate. Let's make sure the knife is all together. It is. Copy paste. Flip horizontal. Move into position. Okay. And that's the extra knife. Take your eraser tool. And let's see which one. Alright, so let's erase. I'm going to make the one on the right, the front one. Or on top of the one underneath. Well, now it's underneath now that I erased that. And there you go. There's some line art. Alright, so now that it's joined, you know what? I'll leave it as is just in case I want to move that knife around. Alright, so anyways, that's the line art. Hope you enjoyed. I will do another session with the color. Thanks. Bye. sketchyGOichie. Live your moment. Happy sketching, y'all. Peace.